Hello everyone, my name is Akelia Clarke, and today I'll be reading Zabiti and Zemi Demi. It's a really interesting story and I hope you like it. Chapter 1. The strong westward breeze powered the mighty ship forward as the sight of land cracked the horizon. "Land near!" shouted the lookout at the top of the ship, blowing his horn, sending the crew into overdrive as they prepared for landfall. Inside a dark room deep in the middle of the ship. "Your Majesty, we finally approached the land of wood and water," Katniss said, as she smiled, running her fingers through her flowing hair. "Yes, we shall soon retain the beauty of our lands, and our people will rise again, and you, your Majesty, will become the greatest king to rule in the history of our people. The king that returned the sea of sand to its green, fruitful self," Herjad added. "This is my destiny, and nothing will stand in my way," King Udani said. With his words, both Katniss and Herjad fell to their knees and bowed before their king. "I'm bursting with magical energy, and with the life-draining powers of the blue orb, all we have to do is march to the center of this island and drain it of this rich energy. The energy drained will be more than enough to restore our homeland," Katniss stated. "How long will the draining take?" asked King Udani. "About 24 hours, Your Majesty," she replied. "We move to land now," ordered King Udani. King Udani and his mighty army made landfall and marched towards the center of the island. No love was shown for nature, as they destroyed all in their way, killing both animals and cutting down trees to create a clear path to the center of the island. "It seems this land has no human inhabitants, which means we never needed an army. And to make it better, we will not be stealing anything when we take the island's life force," Katniss stated. Just then, an iguana fell from the tree above, landed on King Udani's shoulder, and with a mighty swing of his arm, he threw it to the forest floor. "What kind of creature is this?" King Udani asked in anger. "It's called an iguana, Your Majesty," Katniss answered. The force of the fall hurt the iguana and it was unable to move, and with a swing of his sword, Udani chopped the iguana in two, killing it. Then he ordered his army forward. The army continued their march of destruction until they arrived at the middle of the island. Katniss, the kingdom's most powerful magician and one half of the king's royal council, stepped forward holding a now glowing blue orb of life and began chanting. "Life gone will now return. Bless our land with the life of..." Before she could finish her words, the winds began howling, followed by loud clashes of thunder. Large dark clouds appeared, and the sky seemed to open up. Two glowing spirits appeared, and the blue orb suddenly exploded in Katniss's hands. "What type of sorcery is this, Katniss?" King Udani asked. "I have no idea, Your Majesty. I've never seen or read anything like this before." "Seems like we'll need an army after all," Herjad said. Herjad was the other half of the royal council, and she was the leader of the royal army. Her specialty was in archery. "Let it rain arrows!" Herjad shouted. The mighty army of 200 soldiers pulled their bows and fired their arrows at the glowing spirits. One of the spirits waved its hand, and all the arrows stopped mid-air. It waved its hand again, and all the arrows fell to the ground harmlessly. "Katniss, do something!" King Udani shouted. Before she could say a word, King Udani and his men froze and started to rise into the air from the ground. For the first time in his life, fear spoke from his eyes. "King Udani, you have come to this island to commit the cruelest of acts. Your people forgot the laws of your land, and the land perished. Now you have come with your technology to steal the energy of this island," a spirit said. Finally, able to speak, King Udani shouted, "No one lives on this island. I steal nothing." The second spirit then disappeared and reappeared right in front of him and said, "Not only have you felled all the trees in your path, you killed many animals, and for your crimes your punishment is this." Two spirits then came together as one and said, "Udani, you and your army will face imprisonment on this island forever. You will be turned into an animal just like the iguana you killed. His eggs and the mother of his eggs will be yours to take care of. Your army will become invisible and powerless, and your ship will become your home. Only when love's debt is repaid shall the eggs of stone break and life will be given again." Their words were followed by clashes of thunder, and King Udani began screaming in pain as he began turning into an iguana man. He grew large and tall, his handsome face turned green and scaly. His men began to fade away, and soon he could no longer see them. His ship rose from the sea and landed in the middle of the island. Then a mighty tree burst out of the ground beneath the ship, and the female iguana placed her eggs inside. Chapter 2. 900 years later. Centuries passed, and King Udani and his army remained prisoners to the spirits of the island. Over the period, he lost all hope of ever returning home, and he retired to his house in the middle of the island with his invisible army. One day, while doing their normal daily activities, the men of the invisible army spotted a few humans arriving on the island on small wooden boats. King Udani's men looked on in shock as the men slowly made their way on the island. In that moment, the wind and thunderstorm began again, sending the island's new inhabitants running about. The two spirits appeared once again before King Udani's men. "Udani's men, tell your king this. These people will live on this island, and it will be your responsibility to secretly teach them any knowledge that will help them become a living people on this island, while learning a few things from them about caring for the island." With a sudden bolt of lightning, both disappeared. King Udani's men quickly ran to tell him the news. On their way, they saw Katniss. "Katniss, the spirits appeared to us again with the news for the king," one of the men said. "And what is this?" Katniss asked. The men reported to Katniss what they saw and what the spirits had told them to do. She quickly sent them away, saying she will tell the king. Katniss entered the house and stopped at the foot of the large tree. Her heartbeat quickened because King Udani seldomly takes visitors, but she knew this information was important. She climbed the tree only to hear sniffing and then a roaring voice asking, "Katniss, why do you bother me?" "My king," she replied. "Do I look like a king? No king looks like this and is trapped inside a forest. I am no king," Udani roared. Katniss climbed over to him and rubbed her fingers through his thick mane that ran down his head into his back. "Udani, no matter your appearance or status, you will forever be my king," she responded. "I ask once again, Katniss, why do you bother me?" he questioned. The spirits have appeared to a few of the men again, telling them to inform their king of the arrival of humans to this island. "We are to secretly share knowledge with them and to learn how to live as one with nature from observing them," she replied. King Udani, with his eyes burning red with anger, stood to his feet and broke one of the branches with his tail. "I will have no part in this. If this idea excites you and the others, do it. I just want to be left alone. I died many years ago when I failed my people," he said, as he threw Katniss out of the tree. Katniss and the others listened to the spirits and secretly helped the island people. They soon developed a way of life with housing, farming, and most importantly, a leader, the cacique. Over the years, the people grew in number, and even King Udani had a slight change of heart, coming outside a few times to view the island people. Cacique Yadiki soon took over rulership. He was a smart man that learned quickly through observation that his people were being helped by invisible spirits which he called Opias, and that the Opias had a mighty leader which was called Zemi Demi. For this king and his men loved Yadiki and blessed him with knowledge that caused him to grow into a powerful leader. Yadiki had 3 children. Tamuti, the oldest, his only son, was a lazy young man that slept all day in his hammock. Next was Zabiti, his oldest daughter. She was a beautiful, spoiled young lady that was very talkative. This caused her to become very popular. She cared less about her father's observations. All she was interested in was going to battle games and buying items to wear. Lastly was Zabiti. She was a special child, loved by her father and the villagers. Her beauty was spoken about by all the island's people. One night, while having dinner with his children, Yadiki asked, "How was your day?" "My day was good. The trees seemed to have more leaves today, so the shade was perfect under my hammock," Tamuti answered. "Tamuti, you're always sleeping. When do you plan on learning how to be a cacique?" Yadiki replied. "Mine was long ago and boring, Papa. No battle game today, but tomorrow will be better. The new feather helmet comes out and I can't wait to buy it," Yabiti said with a smile, fixing the feather headband she had on. "And Zabiti, you?" Yadiki asked. "My day was fine, Papa. Me and Dora, the moment Zabiti said his name, her sleeping pet iguana jumped off the floor onto her shoulders." She continued. "Went into the forest and we heard the Opias calling out what seemed to be a strange name." "Ha ha!" Yadiki laughed in excitement. Yabiti and Tamuti just ignored the conversation and continued eating. "Now, my family, tomorrow is a big day for our village. We will be trading with the islands to the east for the first time. Last week, I sent the whole spring crop of cassava in return for twice the amount of maize. I'm expecting the canoes tomorrow. The whole village will celebrate and it will be a great day for our family. We will have to thank the Opias for giving me the idea of trading and how to trade," Yadiki said, as they all finished their dinners and went back to bed in their hammocks. Chapter 3. The following morning, the whole village gathered to welcome the returning canoes. To their disappointment, no canoes came. Soon a whole week passed and still no canoes returned. The village was devastated. Their food supplies had now finished and they began to go hungry. One by one, the families of Yadiki's village left for neighboring villages. "Please stay. The cassava in the ground will be ready in a few weeks," Yadiki begged, but no one listened, and they all left him with only his family. "Papa, what will we do now that all the villagers have all gone?" Tamuti asked. "The Opias have never failed me. I just can't understand," Yadiki replied with tears in his eyes. "Please don't cry, Papa. I will try speaking with the Opias tonight and try and get answers," Zabiti said, wiping the tears from her father's eyes. "Yes, Zabiti. All we can do is wait for answers, but until they come to us, we will still have to eat, so we better get working," Yadiki responded. "Work?" Tamuti shouted. Yabiti busted into tears immediately. "First, all my friends are gone. Now I will have to work." With her father's words, Zabiti went straight to work on the village farm. The following day, while Yadiki and Zabiti were attending to the farm, they heard footsteps running towards them. It had been days since they last saw anyone except their family. A person emerged from the forest. It was the foot messenger from the eastern village, running breathless. "Cacique Yadiki! Cacique Yadiki!" he shouted. "Speak, messenger," Yadiki said. "One of your missing cannon washed ashore a few days ago on the coast of our village," the messenger said. The news caused Tamuti and Zabiti to run over in excitement. You know what that may mean, Papa? Zabiti asked. That's just the news we wanted to hear. I will leave right at this moment. We may be lucky and I might find something useful or salvageable, Zabiti responded. Zabiti dropped his bow and packed for the 3-day journey to the eastern village. If I find anything, I may be able to buy something for you three. What would you like? Zabiti asked his children. I want a hammock. The one I have is hurting my back, and it's not fit for the future cacique, Tamuti answered. I want a new feather headband, the one with the biggest and brightest feathers. Please, Papa, Zabiti answered. All I want for you is to return home safe, Papa, Zabiti said while she walked over and kissed him on his cheek. They all had a group hug and Zabiti was off to the eastern village. The journey was an unfamiliar one for Zabiti. The path had changed a lot since his last visit to the eastern village, but the messenger led the way and he arrived at the village safely. Zabiti ran through the village on arrival without greeting his older brother, Cacique Hedimus, the leader of the eastern village. Zabiti was shocked when he got to the shoreline and saw the state of the canoe. It was destroyed beyond repair, and nothing valuable was in sight. Zabiti was devastated. He was hungry and without food, and now had to make a 3-day journey back home without food supplies. Zabiti, with his head down slowly, walked to the hut of his brother Hedimus. Hedimus had a huge hut that was filled with calabash after calabash of fruits and berries which he grows in his personal garden. On both sides of his hut lay groups of beautiful young women, all waiting on their turn to speak to Hedimus. Zabiti walked straight to him and said, "Hello, brother." "Brother? We're not brothers. I'm a cacique and not the brother of a common man, a man that visited my village and did not greet me on arrival. You have lost everything because of these foolish opiates. I sent the messenger for you so you could take that garbage off my shoreline, but I see that you cannot even do that," Hedimus said. With a look of hate in his eyes, he tossed a bag of food supplies to Zabiti and continued, "Leave my village now and return to your children, you failure." Zabiti took the bag from the ground and dashed out of the hut in shame, as all inside erupted in laughter. Zabiti headed straight for the forest, disappointed by the behavior of his brother, but his disappointment soon turned himself when his children and now he was returning without success. Zabiti was walking home for 5 days. His food supplies had finished and he was lost, hungry and dying of thirst. The rain began to fall. Zabiti fell to his knees crying. "Why, Opia? Why have you let me become a failure? Failing my village, my brother, and now my children?" he shouted. The earth started to move and a large house appeared in front of Zabiti. He wondered to himself, where did this large hut come from? But then he thought anyone who owns a hut that size must have something inside to eat. He slowly stepped inside. It was beautiful. It had a large tree growing from the middle that went straight to the roof. Inside had a sweet smell of fragrances. "This hut is fit for a king," Zabiti said to himself. Zabiti then started to smell the scent of freshly cooked food. He could not believe his eyes when he saw a table filled with food. His mouth began to water, but he was reluctant to eat because he thought the owner of the food must be near, if not inside the hut. He decided to wait for a moment. After waiting for 2 hours, he decided to eat from the table. He filled his stomach, then evening came, and it became too dark for him to see his way. He decided to stay the night. He walked about the house shouting at the top of his voice, "Hello? Hello?" But still no one answered. He was getting very sleepy, and when he finally entered another room of the house, he saw a hammock with a wooden sign over it which had his name carved into it. He thought to himself, It must be the Opias. So he went to sleep in the hammock. The following morning, Yadiki awoke feeling well rested. He walked to the front of the house, and to his surprise, the table was once again filled with freshly cooked food. He immediately began eating. After breakfast, Yadiki remembered his children and how they must be worried about him not returning. Yadiki packed his bag of food, thanked the Opias, and headed out. On his way out, he noticed an iguana on the tree growing inside of the house. Yadiki found it strange, but the sight of the iguana made him remember Zabiti, and even though she said she did not want anything, he knew with him being gone for 9 whole days, Zabiti must be hard at work, helping her 2 older siblings. This iguana will make a perfect gift for Zabiti, Yadiki said as he took the iguana off the giant tree. As soon as he had done this, King Udani jumped from the tree before Yadiki. Chapter 4. This place is mine, Udani roared and continued. Why do you steal from me? And I have provided for you in your time of need, shelter, a hammock, and food. Yadiki's knees started shaking because of the sight of the monster. They soon gave way and he fell before King Udani. I'm sorry, great Zemi Demi. I was just getting a gift for my daughter, Yadiki said, and continued. I knew not that I was causing an offense. Daughter, Udani asked. Yes, Zemi Demi. Zabiti, she is the love of my life, my little helper and study partner. Her beauty shines as bright as the morning star, Yadiki replied. For your crime of trying to steal from me, you will be my prisoner until I have summoned your daughter. She will take your place and join me in my palace, King Udani said. Please don't ask for that, Zemi Demi. She is the love of my life, Yadiki responded. Nothing else shall cure the pain in my heart of you trying to steal from me, Yadiki, King Udani said. Tears flowed from Yadiki's eyes as he replied, I'm in the wrong, and it's my debt to pay. King Udani shook his head and climbed up the giant tree. At the top of the tree, Udani called his royal council, shouting, Katniss and Herjad! In a matter of seconds, the 2 of them appeared before Udani in the tree. Go and find the beautiful daughter of King Yadiki and bring her to the palace so she can see her father, Udani ordered. Yes, your majesty, they both replied as they left to find Zabiti. Meanwhile, back at Yadiki's village, Zabiti was managing the daily activities of the farm, and it was slowly coming back to normal. Yabiti was inside her hut putting together a pearl necklace, and Tamuti was laying in his father's hammock. Why is Papa taking so long to return? It's been 9 days now, Zabiti asked her 2 siblings. Maybe he's catching up with Hedmus. It's a long time since they both saw each other, Tamuti replied. I don't think so. It's not like Papa to stay in the eastern village and we're home alone, answered a worried Zabiti. She continued, I will go into the forest and see if I can talk to the Opias about the whereabouts of Papa. Tamuti and Yabiti both looked at each other and laughed and went back to their activities. Zabiti and Dado both made their way into the forest, and just as she was about to sit on the ground, she heard 2 voices speaking. Hello, Zabiti. You can't see us, but we're here to help you, Katniss said. Come with us, and we will take you to your papa. He's with our king, and he is in good health, Herjad said. Zabiti then felt 2 hands pulling her to her feet, and they led her through the forest to the palace. What a big hut! Who lives here? Zabiti asked. Our King Udani, the one your father calls Zemi Demi, Herjad replied. I have heard the name Udani before, Zabiti stated. Come, let us enter, Katniss said. Zabiti entered the palace and saw her father sitting, looking worried. Papa! Papa! She shouted. Diki rose to his feet and smiled at the sight of his daughter. The Opias led me to you, Papa, she said. That moment, King Udani jumped from the tree. Zabiti was terrified by the sight of the monster, and she ran into her father's arms. Now that your daughter is here, you're free to go, Yadiki, King Udani said, shocked by the beauty of Zabiti. Yadiki burst into tears and began to explain to Zabiti the series of bad luck that he has experienced through the past few days. Zabiti also started crying. "If it is because of me that you have become a prisoner, Papa, I'll stay with Zemi Demi and you can go free," she said. Yadiki pleaded with King Udani, but he was not changing his mind, and Yadiki eventually decided to return home, but promised he would visit every other day. King Udani sent him off with bags that were loaded with gifts and food for him and his family, and he promised Yadiki that no harm would be done to Zabiti. That moment, Yadiki left. Zabiti ran to the back of the palace, crying, saying she wanted to be left alone. King Udani tried talking to her, but all his effects failed. He eventually left her alone and returned to his tree. The weeks went by, and Zabiti stayed by herself, only coming out when her father came to visit. And as the weeks went by, his visits became less and less frequent. King Udani would always leave gifts for Zabiti, and as soon as he found out she loved reading, he started to leave scrolls for her to read. One night, King Udani's iguana came down to check on her stone eggs at the foot of the tree when Dado saw her. He ran up to the tree after her. Zabiti got some courage and climbed up after Dado. The tree went straight through the roof of the palace. The iguanas were nowhere in sight, but she began to hear crying, and to her surprise, it was King Udani. "What is the matter?" she asked. King Udani was shocked to see Zabiti at the top of the tree. He quickly wiped his tears and replied, "It's just the full moon. It reminds me of my greatest mistake, one I can't tell you about, but I'm deeply saddened by it." "Sad on a night like this? Just look at the moon and stars. They are so bright. I read in one of your scrolls that you used the stars and traveled the whole world," Zabiti answered. "Yes, traveled the whole world," King Udani answered and continued. "And traveling the world is what caused me to become this monster." "You're not really a monster, just misunderstood. You helped my papa when we were at our lowest, and even though I'm a prisoner, I'm free to move about, and for the past few weeks, I've learned more than I have my whole life." "You're not a bad creature, Zemi Demi," Zabiti said, while giving him a hug, which opened his heart even more to her. Chapter 5. "You can return to your father if you would like," King Udani said, "and leave you lonely. My family is okay. I just wish I could see them every day," Zabiti replied. "I just might be able to help you with that. Let's go," he said. They both descended from the tree, and the moment their feet touched the ground, the sound of music filled the air. "Music? This must be the work of Katniss," King Udani said. Zabiti laughed and said, "It's been a long time since I've heard music. Since the villagers left, no music has been played," and she began to dance. King Udani then stretched out his hand and asked, "May I have this dance?" "Yes, Your Majesty," she replied. They began to dance. Soon afterwards, sounds of thunder filled the room, and a few dark clouds began forming in the sky. The two mighty spirits then appeared again. "King Udani, the island is in great danger. King Platlamo from your nation has sailed across the ocean and has come on the same mission as you did over 900 years ago. He is very evil, and he has several animals in his control. He has already destroyed all of the eastern village, killing everyone in his way. He is now marching to the center of the island to take its energy and bring it back to Africa. Udani, save the island and save the people," they said, and they both vanished. The noise caused all invisible army to gather, and the news left Zabiti terrified. That was her uncle's village. She asked for answers, but King Udani told her it was not time for explanations. He ordered his men forward, and they marched to stop Patlamo from destroying America. Zabiti, King Udani, and his army made their way forward. Soon they began to hear King Patlamo. The forest became a living, moving jungle. King Udani tossed Zabiti over his back and placed her high up in a tree. He jumped from the tree and roared, saying, "King Patlamo, return to your home." King Patlamo ordered his many beasts to stop marching, and he replied, "And here I was thinking this island is defenseless. So, you know my name and my greatness. I'm a beast master, and you're nothing but another beast to be captured and tamed. I am no beast. I am King Udani, of the same kingdom as you. I made the same journey of destruction over 900 years old, and my punishment is this body you see. Now, leave this island, because I will not let you destroy my home," King Udani said. "King Udani, you made it across, and I was thinking I was the first. But your dynasty died when you failed to return, and I see you have grown soft and foolish. Look in the eyes of your current king. It will be even more of a pleasure to defeat you, make you my slave, and then suck the island dry," Patlamo answered. King Udani gave out a mighty roar that shocked the earth and caused some of Patlamo's animals to scamper away. The eyes of the skull across Patlamo's chest began to glow, and he shouted, "Return to formation and let's get ready for war." All the animals returned to their positions, and Patlamo shouted, "Attack!" The animals all rushed forward to tear King Udani to shreds. Herjad then shouted, "Fire!" And all the invisible army all fired their arrows, and one by one Patlamo's animals all fell dead. "What type of magic is this? You will die!" Patlamo shouted in anger and disbelief. "Attack!" he shouted once again. Out of the forest from behind him rushed 30 bronze-armored rhinos, charging towards King Udani. Patlamo pulled his spear from behind his back. Herjad once again shouted to her men to fire, but the armor of the rhinos protected them, and only a few fell dead as they continued towards King Udani. Zabiti was still in the tree looking on, when Katniss then chanted a spell that caused all the rhinos to stop suddenly. Herjad ordered them to fire once again, and all the remaining rhinos then got shot in the eyes and fell dead. Patlamo then tossed his spear at Zabiti in the tree, and King Udani quickly jumped into the tree. Just as the spear was about to hit Zabiti, he jumped in front of it, taking it in his shoulder. The spear went through him and into the tree. King Udani tore himself free and fell to the forest floor, bleeding badly. Patlamo pulled his sword and ran towards the injured King Udani. The skull on his chest prevented Katniss's magic from affecting him, and he jumped in the air, then lodged the sword in Udani's chest. Zabiti pulled the spear from the tree and jumped from the tree and pierced Patlamo through his back, killing him. Udani was losing blood fast, and Zabiti ran over to him and told him thanks for saving her and her home and that she loved him. She gave him a kiss, and then the two mighty spirits appeared again, saying, "All is right," and just vanished. Udani's body started glowing, and his wounds began to heal. He then turned back into the handsome young king. His invisible army became visible, causing Herjad and Katniss to hug at the sight of each other. "King Udani," Zabiti said as he opened his eyes, and she gave him an even bigger kiss. The stone eggs at the palace both hatched to the eyes of King Udani's and Zabiti's iguanas. America blossomed in a great island after because of unity of both knowledge and love. The end. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the story. Penpowerment.